Welcome to the Jamal Thomas Show. This is not the normal time to which I do my show, but I wanted to get this in before I had to leave. I want to get the sound right. Good. I wanted to get this in before I left, before I leave this morning and start my day. Yes, for me, it's in the morning. For you guys, it's at night. I appreciate anybody who's going to be here at night who listens to the sound of this voice, even though this voice is a bit hoarse. But I want to get this out. Zelensky is a dangerous man. In fact, I will go further. Zelensky is a dangerous man right now on the planet, especially if you are a Ukrainian. You are in danger. Zelensky is a problem. This is Trump giving his take about the war, at the very least his, let's say, aspirations.
Some swapping.
How do you play?
You're looking at territory that's been fought over for 3.5 years with, a lot of Russians have died, a lot of Ukrainians have died. So we're looking at that, but we're actually looking to get some back and some swapping. It's complicated. It's actually nothing easy. It's very complicated, but we're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both. And but we'll be talking about that either later or tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, please. Say it. You're looking at territory.
We'll be talking about that later, tomorrow, or whenever. Now, of course, Zelensky is going to chime in. What does Zelensky have to say about it? Well, of course, backed by the Europeans, Zelensky has a completely contrary point of view, and despite the fact that he's completely dependent upon Donald Trump in regards to this, he still has the capability, the stones, to say this.
Землі. Хоче, вже польською стороною тривають майже цілодобово на різних рівнях, і ми не робимо все публічно. Тактику Путіна всі добре бачать. Він боїться санкцій і робить все, щоб зіскочити з них. Він хоче обміняти паузу у війні, вбивствах, на легалізацію окупації нашої землі. Хоче вже вдруге отримати територіальну здобич. Йому дали взяти Крим. І це призвело до окупації в Донецькій та Луганській областях. Він не отримав превентивного покарання, коли зібрав контингент на наших кордонах. Це призвело до повномасштабної війни та окупації ще частин України.
Okay. It is very difficult to listen to this international panhandler, as I like to call him. But for all intents and purposes, Zelensky is saying, we are not giving up squat, and has this weird belief that it's Putin that is trying to make the deal. I hate to point this out to him and some of the analysts, but it's Trump who sent Witkoff in order to make a deal, because Donald Trump, A, had just put sanctions on the world, the tariffs on the world. B, could not go through with those secondary sanctions because they were going to reverberate in America. And C, the situation for the Ukraine on the battlefield is dire. There is a crisis that is taking place in the Ukrainian military right now. 400,000 desertions. And as I show you the map here, this is the reality of what Ukraine and the United States, as its backer, is dealing with. I want you to notice something. Petrovsk is at the bottom. Konstantinivka, I believe I got that right, is at the top. Slaviansk, Kramatorsk, the last defensive lines in Ukraine. If you notice, they're being surrounded, or as Mark would say, flanked. Meaning when the two top positions fall, and they will fall as they are falling pretty quickly, Slaviansk, Kramatorsk, if not surrounded, are going to be flanked and cut off. That's a disaster. That is 4 regions. And let's be clear, it's more than that. Zaporozhye, Kherson, all of these are under pressure. But these are the 2 final regions in Donetsk. Trump knows it. He could see it. His military people around him could see it. Whether he would say this openly or not is besides the point. It is true. It is gravity at work. The Russian advance, attrition warfare, has just paid off. Trump is trying to do something about it to save himself deep, unabiding humiliation. You would think that Zelensky knows that. You would think the Europeans know that. I suspect Zelensky does know that, which is the reason for this monologue. Zelensky is a dangerous man. And I say that because he's a man with no future. His fate is already sealed. He knows his fate is sealed. And because he knows his fate is sealed, he is doing anything and everything in his power to stave off that fate for as long as he can stave off that fate. Because of that, he is the deadliest man on the planet. Specifically, the deadliest man for Ukrainians. If you're a grandpa, if you're a child, if you're disabled, if you're a woman, if you're mentally different, or let's say mentally ill, you will be thrown into the Russian meat grinder. Every person that Zelensky throws into that meat grinder, meaning every person that he gets killed, is 1 hour of life that Zelensky believes he has left on this planet or in that particular position. I hope you get what I'm saying. Meaning Zelensky would throw every man, woman, child, disabled person, elderly person, every grandpa, every grandma, every dog, cat, every animal, every zygote. He will do any and everything in his power to exist. And because of that, and in the position that he is in, if you're walking your dog, if you're delivering pizza, if you are a UPS man, you will be snatched and thrown into a wood chipper. He believes that keeps him alive. If you are Ukrainian, Zelensky is very dangerous to you. You have a president of the US who is ostensibly trying to get a deal to stave off what he knows is an eventuality of failure. He knows it. The Europeans, I would believe on some level, knows it. Zelensky maybe even knows it himself. But what Zelensky knows is that his fate is fundamentally sealed. Either he is strung up on a traffic light, either he is put in prison, or either Zelensky takes a bag of money and runs to some foreign country. Those are the only three parts of his fate. Either Trump gets a deal, and let's say that this odd eventuality that I'm doubtful of, but let's say he gets a deal. Look, they're going to get something. I don't know what that something is. I don't know what Trump ultimately offered. He's talking about land swaps. I have no idea whether or not Putin is going to deviate from his main plans. I suspect he's not, considering the situation on the battlefield. But hey, he may, right? If he gets that deal, do you honestly believe that Zelensky is going to stay in power? The majority of the people who were in Ukraine, when asked, would you like this war to continue? 69% says no, make a deal. 24% says, yes, we want to keep this fight going despite the fact that we've lost 1.5 million human beings. Do you think that that's 69% that will blame Zelensky for the damage, the havoc that was caused, especially when the overwhelming majority of the people in Ukraine voted for Zelensky as a peace candidate, and Zelensky, who's well outstayed his welcome and has effectively stayed in power through martial law that is not the most legal thing in the world? Do you really think that they're going to vote him in office? Hell, for all I know, that the Russians, any deal that they make, part of that deal is for Zelensky to leave. Either way, there is no excuse for not having elections. He would lose those elections, at which point a reckoning will take place where Zelensky would either be put in prison or one or the other, or he leaves. And I'm saying this because this is exactly what Zelensky did to his political opposition. Think of all the people who were running against or political opponents of Zelensky that just so happened to end up in jail, just happened to end up dead, or exiled. Same fate awaits Zelensky. He knows it. Every Ukrainian grandma that he throws into the wood chipper of the Russians is one breath extra of life that he can claim for his miserable, disgusting body. I hope you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to make this point that whatever happens, whether Trump gets a deal or whether Trump does not get a deal, the war continues. And this advance that I just showed you not just keep going, but quickens. It quickens. When Russians take all of Donetsk, and it will happen. When Russia starts looking at Kiev, it will eventually happen. When 5 regions become 6 and 8 and 10, then what? Any way you look at this, either Russia takes Ukraine, in which case Zelensky is out, or a deal is made somewhere down the line and Zelensky is out. Both of those situations, and there can only be 2, lead to his loss of life, loss of position, loss of freedom, or Zelensky leaves. Now, if you're Zelensky and you know that, what do you do? What do you do in this position? Do you allow that eventuality to overcome you, looking out for the best interests of Ukraine, saying, hey, the overwhelming majority of the people want a deal. President of the United States is trying to get some kind of deal. So yeah, I'm going to get some kind of deal because if I don't get a deal, this only gets worse and Russia is going to take more and more territory. Or do you take the route that Zelensky has taken the entirety of the war, where you are effectively fighting to the last dead Ukrainian, because every Ukrainian is one breath of life extra that you have in your body. It's that. It's that. So I hope you get my point. It's not that Zelensky believes that he can win. It's that Zelensky knows that he can't win. He knows that his life is forfeit in one way or the other. And because of that, elderly is now in the war. Children will now be in the war. Every rando, mentally ill person may now be pressed into the war. Every dancer, every barbershop person, every person walking their dog, every person driving a taxi, all of those people are now potentially forfeit. That's where we are. That's where we are. I will end where I begin. Zelensky is the dangerous man on the planet. If you are Ukrainian, if you're stuck in Ukraine, if you're old, if you're young, if you have an able body, if you have a disabled body, if you're mentally ill, he is a threat to your safety and to your life. Be aware. His balls, what is this? He balls with a bag full of money with current or former MI6 as his personal detail. Well, if he knows what's good for him, he will take that bag of money and leave as fast as he can, because what's coming is inexorable. It's as real and as inexorable as gravity itself. You should be aware. You should be aware. I'm going to say like, I'm going to say share, I'm going to say subscribe. Yeah, I ended on that. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you bright and early in the morning. Jamal Thomas, signing off.